Welcome back to Weather 101. We're going to wrap up our heat series talking about how to avoid heat-related illnesses. First off, we are going to break down what the UV index is. We use a lot of different things to come up with our ultraviolet radiation. And essentially, we have to remember when the UV index is very high, so when it is a 6 or greater, you've got to remember that sunblock and remember to shade and protect your eyes and your skin, but especially when it's extreme and in that very high territory. So over 8 is very high, over 11 is extreme, and of course, that does lead to quicker sunburns.
And Gracie, I hear a lot of people say, well, the UV index is higher today, so I'm going to go outside and tan. But we know with that, it can be dangerous if you don't use sunscreen or if you're out there too long.
Absolutely. It is fun in the sun to get a little bit of tan, but you've got to remember that sunblock to protect from skin cancer down the road or even a really bad sunburn.
Right. And some other ways that the heat can be dangerous are the temperatures that will make our surfaces even warmer. So, you know, it's not uncommon. We'll get up to 95 degrees here in central Mississippi.
Absolutely.
That's the air temperature, but a 95-degree air temperature can make the grass 105 degrees if it's in that direct sunlight, concrete 125 degrees or warmer, and the asphalt 140 degrees or warmer. So, you know, if you're not wearing the good shoes or proper attire, it would not be hard to burn yourself on the pavement or asphalt, or even grass is still hot.
And we can't forget about our furry friends, Austin,
right,
because walking them in their paw pads during that kind of heat on the asphalt or on the concrete is definitely not a good idea in the middle of summer when our UV is high, but when those temperatures are high, that ground heats up quickly.
And you know, veterinarians would say if you touch the ground and it's too hot for you, it's too hot for your pets.
Absolutely.
So that's a good tip. Need to remember our pets.
Yes, 100%. And always you have to remember to look before you lock. And it's a good reminder for the pets and for our children, really anyone or anything that is in the car. Remember how quickly those cars heat up during this time of the year. If the temperature is 95 outside, only 10 minutes could lead to a car temperature of 114, 20 minutes, 124. But look at what happens if you spend an hour in the car. It will be 140 degrees.
And that is very dangerous. It's just so hot inside a car. And in fact, we were even able to bake some cookies in a car because it was just so hot out there. Let's take a look at that. Well, we've made our way outside, and boy, is it hot out here, Gracie.
It is, Austin, but as hot as it is outside, from what we just talked about, we know it's even hotter inside of our news vehicles.
That's right, and it was so hot this afternoon that we were even able to bake some cookies. We put the cookies in the dashboard of the car at about 12:45 and let them stay in there for just a little over 2 hours. We took them out at about 3. It was just too hot for our GoPro or to have a digital thermometer, so we ended up just taking pictures every 15 minutes to represent the cookies' progress, and we manually measured the temperature.
The cookies didn't turn out too bad, but I don't know that I would eat them. It's important that if you do this at home, remember the cookie sheet will be very hot, and also check the internal temperature of the cookies to make sure they are at least 160 degrees so that you do not risk getting a foodborne illness.
We can also check the temperature of the parking lot. The asphalt is very warm right now, even though we have had some clouds, still reading almost 127 degrees.
And while hot cars can bake cookies, it's very dangerous to be inside of them in these types of conditions. Well, if it's hot enough out there to bake cookies, Austin, we know it's hot enough for heat-related illnesses, unfortunately, and that means heat exhaustion is very common, but also in worst cases, a heat stroke.
Right. And some examples of symptoms you would have if you're experiencing heat exhaustion, something to look out for if you're getting faint or dizzy, if you're sweating a lot, if you have a rapid but weak pulse. Those are just some basic signs of heat exhaustion. Try to drink plenty of water, get cool and in an air-conditioned place as soon as possible. But heat stroke is even worse.
Yeah, Austin, when you have a heat stroke, you need to call 911 immediately, seek attention, medical attention, and that's what you need to look out for is a throbbing headache when you stop sweating sweating. That's what you really can look out for, that you may be having a heat stroke. Red, hot, dry skin, rapid, strong pulse. You even may lose consciousness when you have a heat stroke.
And this just shows you how serious the heat can be and how dangerous it can be to us during the summer. If you have any weather questions for us, send them to us at WJTV Weather at nextstar.tv. We would love to answer your questions. But until next week, that wraps up Weather 101.